Ready and action!
One of the stepping stones of this film was that they came up with some very creative, very cool kills.
A lot of new kills that I've never seen in any horror film. I've seen a lot of horror films.
The deaths in this film are so surprising.
Police, open up!
Maybe she's gonna make it now. Maybe she's gonna make BAM!
Deaths are fantastic. They're gory and gruesome and annihilating everything you'd expect.
To bring back with Friday the 13th, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and people just getting, like, slaughtered.
Gory-wise, yes. All these deaths are vicious, and they're exciting, and I think they're going to catch a lot of people off guard.
So painful to watch.
This is how the Donnie character gets it. His esophagus that's hanging out here. Of course, there'll be more meat, blood, all that kind of stuff.
They get it, and they get it again, and they get it again, and it is just non-stop.
Constantly being on edge and nervous that around every corner is going to be something else.
We really up the ante with some of the kills and get right in your face, and we're showing quite a bit.
You scream and you cheer because you know that this is horrifying and it's what you showed up for.
Travis's death, you know, the way he gets thrown on the back of the truck and it's busting through him is gross, and I'm sure will be a moment in the film where I kind of go, can I really watch this?
My scene where I die, just one shot, they used 4 gallons of blood. I don't even know if we have that much blood in our bodies.
We really wanted to make his death really special so the audience could go crazy. So what we did was we found a black pickup truck that had a hay baler on the back, which is basically a long metal spike that's used on the farms. And we knew if we could get Jason to pick him up and throw him on that spike and the car could drive away, we might have a really amazing moment.
Travis is trying to get away. He goes into a road, flags down a car. The Jason character appears out of nowhere.
And he gets a machete through his back and out his stomach.
So what happens is I grab the hilt of the machete and grab the front of the machete and
saws him up to his chin.
The rig that we had, there was a blade in the back and another blade in the front, kind of like a Steve Martin arrow to the head trick. But there's a rig that he's wrapped around his rib cage where it's on a slider where I can shimmy it up so it looks like I'm actually cutting him.
This contraption here, there's actually be a machete ramming up my body as I think I'm being held in the air. So I think this is the slidey McDougal. That's what I call it.
Next thing you know, there's a machete sticking up.
I like that.
I knew I didn't want to spend time with CG and with... How do you lift somebody with a CG blade? He has to respond to the movement of Jason, and then we realized that Derek Mears spends his weekends doing cage fighting and that he's actually a strong guy. You know, and like, just, can you lift this guy off his feet?
Lift him higher, Jason. Look out!
So I'm holding him here and I'm pressing him up and he's struggling, I'm struggling.
Right, and lift him up again, lift him up.
After so many takes and so many minutes, you start to fatigue really fast.
Then it takes him in the back, throws him over the pickup truck, and the pickup like gets spiked, and the pickup truck takes off with him on there.
Travis is actually wearing a harness with a wire, so as I pick him up and slam him onto the fake spike, he's locked on, so he's stuck there, and the car takes off with him embedded on the back of the spike.
The Trent death's a crowd favorite. I mean, this is the character that you have to hate in this film. And the entire film, all these people you love are starting to die, and you're just waiting for the guy you hate to die.
I'm ready to die again. So.
Excellent. Good luck.
Let's do it. Yes, thank you. Do you say that to most people?
Travis Van Winkle, nicest guy in the world, on screen, greatest dick since William Tabb.
So he had to have the greatest sort of death sequence. He had to suffer the most, and this is the cheer moment for the audience, and hopefully we've delivered that.
There are two separate groups of characters in this film, and the first group, they all die by page 15. They only shot for basically a week on the film, because then they all go home. They're not in the rest of the movie. So it was a big challenge for us, like first week of the movie, all right, we're killing 4 people, you know, 1 a day. And we started with Ben Feldman's death.
My name is Ben Feldman, and we are on the set of Friday the 13th, and I play the character of Richie, and we're setting up to throw me into a bear trap.
Action!
I'm coming back having just discovered that one of my best friends is dead. I'm already horrified. My leg is sort of bent all off to the side and looks like really old sashimi.
Richie gets his legs skinned. That's just, you know, and that was one of the first days we did something like that. So it kind of set the bar of like, okay, this is what we're in for.
What's creepy is that my real leg is 3 feet underground, and I'm wearing just a sock halfway up my leg. I've seen the creepy animals that exist in Austin, Texas.
He doesn't see the ladder.
I'm sure they're nothing as creepy as the animals that exist 3 feet below Austin, Texas.
That's the one. You're so hunched over, dealing with that when over you, right over your back, this comes down, right? It sticks in his head when you look up.
Whitney shows up, and she's trying to free him from the bear trap, and unfortunately, he looks over her shoulder. And
then Jason comes out of nowhere and gives him a nice high five on the head with a machete.
I was the first one in shooting to be killed by Jason, just chronologically in the shooting order. And it was the first time anybody had seen Jason show up on set. And I remember there was a moment where I was laying on the ground and I was looking up, and he walks up, and you just see this big hulking Jason walk up with a machete towards my face. It's half a machete, so it's just placed up against my head. So when he pulls it out, they're gonna digitally add in the rest of the blade. He's holding it up to my forehead, and we worked out this system where, and it's all his idea, where I'm gonna pull back with my head to let him know when I'm coming, and he's got his foot up to my forehead as though he were pulling the blade out of my head, and as soon as I gently move my head back, he's gonna gently put his foot forward, and I'm gonna jerk back and die.
Very quick kick, yeah. You want weapon go. Weapon go, quick, hard.
And I went home that night with footprints on my forehead. It's very rare that I get to scream and yell and be covered in blood and get limbs chopped off. It's something I'm pretty thrilled about. And I was so excited. They called cut, and I went and talked to my friends, and 3 other of my friends watching, and they're like, wow, we're watching Jason kill someone live. So yeah, you're kind of honored to be killed by him.
Today we're shooting my death scene.
America's death scene is she is by herself. Ben Feldman just left her inside of a tent.
Richie, stop fucking around.
Jason comes in and opens the tent, takes his prize,
ties her up, and hangs her.
In front of him, the chick he was just with is in a sleeping bag on fire over a campfire dangling from a tree.
And slowly she's rotisserie.
kind of like a TV dinner.
There are many stages of me being cooked. I've done some of those already, but tonight was just me falling out of the bag, and then Whitney comes and she discovers my dead body, and I have my one last breath, and then she tears off this piece of my skin, just comes out in her hand. You gotta see this shit. This is crazy stuff back here. The special effects people were amazing with the burning and everything. It was amazing.
Like this?
Yes.
And this? You go like that.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah.
I can reset it. It's okay. Just step on it. The makeup is basically layered. And then there's layers of what's called SC89. That's pigmented with some powder to charcoal-y to make it look like it's burned, and they're very, very thin skins.
And they form that into some sort of sheet that then they can apply and then make it look like skin coming apart. And there's like 10 different colors on me right now, and it's very complicated. There's like this old burnt skin and stuff.
The application took about 3 hours to do. When you have good people working with you, you get it done.
Just an estimate how long will I be in there before I pop out? Okay, cool.
Donna Evans, amazing tough stunt woman, was inside the bag, and The flame is actually below her, and it's actually burning through the bag. They have some flame retardant stunt tricks that is protecting her, but it only lasts for so long, and you do feel the heat.
3, 2, 1, go!
But the big thing also is when she's falling out and slamming on the ground. Now, your natural human reaction when you fall out of the bag is you want to catch yourself with your hand or break the fall. But being that she's cooked, she has to let herself go limp and just fight her natural instincts and bang the ground over and over and over again.
It's original. You haven't seen anybody getting fried in a sleeping bag before. It's scary. It summed up everything you want to achieve with Friday the 13th kills.
I remember when we came up with that, and I was like, am I sick? Am I a sick person? And I didn't think I necessarily was, but then when I watch it on dailies, I'm a sick person because it looks so horrifying.
When I saw some people from the set the next day, they're like, you gave me nightmares.
What I like about it myself for the Jason character is that it shows intelligence, that there's group A kids over here, group B kids over here. It's a time delay so that by the time he's done with these kids, he can come back over here to finish the other kids.
And then sit here and to see it and it actually works and it's beyond what you imagine it would be, that's the greatest reward there is.
Hopefully it'll be infamous.
People have a certain expectation, and you make sure you give them what they want, but you also make sure you don't give them exactly what they expect. And now you can sort of play with that perception. We appreciate that there is sort of a culture and a expectation that we can sort of screw with.
If you know it's coming, it's like, oh, it's coming, gross. If you don't know it's coming, what are you doing, Sully?
Willa's death, I think, is disturbing. Just so disturbing.
This one right here started wakeboarding how many days ago? Like 6 days ago?
Yeah, and we do it a little bit every day.
She's jumping already. It's like...
Little baby jumps.
She's awesome.
That's it. On a day's work. When I first was told that I needed to wakeboard topless, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. I'm not sure. And then we got on set and it was time to go.
Wakeboarding time.
And when I left my top, funniest thing is there was nothing sexual about it for me. It was like liberation. Let's do it!
Yeah! Wakeboarding, topless. Could be worse, you know what I mean? Best in the biz right here. She's in good hands.
Originally, my death was that when I felt the wakeboard and Nolan got the arrow, that I just sort of died of fear. Help me! Who are you? Because I saw Jason on the shore and would not go ashore, and eventually I just last bubble and I would drown.
And Jason won't go in the water. We all know why. And she's not gonna come into shore. And that sort of dynamic I don't think we've ever seen in a Friday the 13th film.
It was even more disturbing almost when she just drowned. When he watched her just drown.
Now, I think Jason's gone. I go to the pier and it's like out of nowhere, the machete just comes straight through the dock, through my head. And then, like, even worse, he like pulls the thing up and my head hits the dock and my body falls in the water. It's just nasty. Oh my God, okay. The rig is so that when I get machete through the pier and then Jason pulls his machete back out of my head, my whole body, I will actually hit the top of the pier.
Go back.
Yeah.
And you fall off. You don't want to rush that part.
Okay, okay.
The only reason really why she was on those strings is so we pull her in such a way that we don't break her back, but still pull her out of the water.
There, and go.
Okay, so my eyes will go up and then I'll fall into the water.
Yeah.
I can't wait to sit in the theater when I get back home after it's all out and just listen to people and see like how loud they scream and what happens. It's gonna be sweet.
Breathe. Gets it again and again and again.
I get suffocated. I get thrown on the back of a door and stabbed through the back with a towel rack made of horns.
And then she gets shot by, this guy.
Twice in the back after I'm already dead, apparently.
And then she gets thrown onto a car
from a second story to my final death.
So her death was not simple at all.
Trent? I'm freaked out. I run up the steps looking for Trent, and I can't find him. I go in the bathroom, and there's that quintessential moment where I'm like, don't go in the bathroom.
Derek!
There's a pretty cool reveal of Jason, and he comes up from behind me and clamps his hand over my mouth, and we pretty much know it's done from there.
So you just open. Boom, there he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you see a kill that works, I think we all get a sense that it works, but that doesn't happen very often. The worst part, and what happens far more frequently, is you see a kill that doesn't work, where the timing doesn't work.
She pulled the curtain. There's nothing there. That's what we did all a million takes before, yeah. Now we're doing a new reveal. He's there.
The Bree kill in the bathroom, I think we shot the actual shot where she pulls back the curtain and reveals Jason behind her 23 times before we got it.
Less like this, you see? More like, almost like your toes try to reach it.
Okay.
That will help greatly.
Stage 3, I'm dead.
Rigor mortis.
I've been dead now. Twice.
We just saw the bit with Bree in the car. I mean, it looked awesome.
I've never seen a stunt done for me. And she was so cool. She was so great. You know, she hung from that beam and just dropped.
3, 2, 1, go!
The pose was phenomenal that she happened to land, and she only had to do it once. And then I came in, took her spot, and was, you know, draped over the car, dead. It was really cool.
Okay, enough.
And it was really fun to shoot, all of it.
Best kills. I think that's what's made this film actually. Very creative, very exciting, very suspenseful, very thrilling kills. I thought mine's one of my favorites, and I'm not biased.
Mike sort of drags me on this little excursion.
Whitney and I break off from the group of campers that we came with and decide to go exploring, and she kind of wants to have a private conversation and tell me that she wants to leave.
We go for a little midnight stroll.
Hi, guys. For a little moonlight stroll.
Protection.
Bye-bye. And little do we know, there's something lurking in the woods.
We end up coming across the old camp and then see Jason's cabin, which we, of course, go into and, of course, explore. The door slams shut. We get locked in the bathroom. Jason's watching us from beneath the floorboards.
There's something out there.
I go to look underneath the door to see who's outside, see if I can see anybody. And as I do, a machete comes up right in front of my face. The machete keeps coming up. I yell at Whitney to get off the ground, so she gets in the cast iron tub and is safe. He ends up getting me with a machete in the hand and then breaking through the floorboards and pulling me down. And then he does terrible, terrible things. I am taken away as poor Whitney is screaming.
Are you excited for that scene to actually execute?
I am. Who's not excited to die on camera? Originally, the idea was to have a stunt double do it, but they wanted intimate shots, so you couldn't really use a stunt double.
2, get away.
They showed me the choreography of the machetes, which was laid out very specifically in a fashion. I think there was actually 7 stabs before I get pulled down, and they were marked. The difficult part was when it got to him breaking through the floorboards and pulling me down, because it was real broken wood. There was a big struggle, a lot of fighting there, and so we definitely got scraped up. And the guy who was doubling Derek Mears, because Derek was getting married, he took a couple of hard hits. He got a nice shiner on that one. When I'm approaching anything that I'm working on, I always think about what it would be like. And it's disturbing, you know, to imagine being taken from this existence in that brutal of a fashion.
a bunch of us are at Trent's cabin, and we've called the police, and we know Jason's outside somewhere because we've seen and heard people dying. And so we get a knock on the door, and it's like, oh crap. And we start booking it to the door, and it's the police officer.
Police! Police, open up!
And so we're going to open the door up, and then a Fireplace poker comes smashing through the front door window.
Police, open up!
Officer Brackey was great. The poker through the eye, going through the door. Jason just kind of goes, falls down from behind where it's like, ah.
And then you look up and there is a terrifyingly large, scary man who is out to get you.
It's not like, boom, he's jumping up or he's jumping into frame. He just slowly comes right down from the ceiling. Jason moves around in his environment a lot. He's not really a big lumbering guy, but he's just a bit more agile. You know, he adapts to his environment.
There's nothing nice about the way he looks, the way he walks, the way he moves his body. Jason is terrifying.
We put an appliance on his eye to simulate the poker going in. For safety, we made a vacuform plate that was glued to his eye initially, and that's what the actual handle was attached to, so that it wasn't something hard connected to his eye. And then the silicone appliance would go over the top of it, and then this would get glued down and the edges would be blended down and apply makeup over it to match it to his skin tone.
I talked to my practical effects team because I didn't want to spend time with CG, and we had little time to do it, so I was like, let's do it in camera. Hell.
1, 2, 3. Nice.
The Brackey effect was one of the few special effects we really did. I wanted to do something where you go with the poker through the door, through his eye, through his head, and almost maiming the actors on the other side and see them react to it.
I mean, the whole movie is sort of building up, but that's right at the beginning of this crazy sequence of events that's going to have the audience at the edge of their seat.
So it's almost a sad thing where if you pull something off that's a practical effect and a magic act in itself mixed in with the makeup, then people are like, oh, that was a CG thing, it was really good. It's like, no, we fooled you, that was real. You know, so you got tricked.